What should we stop teaching young children? That adults are infallible. My wife and I freely admit to our kid if we've done something wrong or we're mistaken, and try to teach him to behave the same. He's only 4, so it's hard because he's still learning even the concept of fallibility. But I'm pretty sure it's helping. That asking questions is annoying or unacceptable. I don't know. Let's find out together, is the most engaging possible answer you can give a curious child. Look, intellectually I'm with you 100%. And I sort of enjoy talking through who would win if Wolverine and Deadpool fight. But about an hour later of the same subject or some variant of it, I'm just to mock off brand or value items that others may use or wear. Unless you're the brand champion. All that mocking must have toughened them up, because look at them now. That genitals are rude and we shouldn't speak about them, monsieur. They are private, but they aren't. We need to teach children correct names for body parts including genitals. On average, a child discloses sexual abuse 5 times before action is taken. It's very easy to hear, "He touched my flower," and not think too much into it. Also, getting children to be able to verbalize feeling uncomfortable and learning how they feel when they are uncomfortable can be beneficial in stopping grooming in its tracks. Groomers often start with lingering touches that can be easily explained away. But if the child can articulate how the touch made him feel, it can help adults to protect children. I worked in a child daycare center and a co-worker told on me to a supervisor for saying the word penis around some kids. Luckily the supervisor agreed with me that penis is not a dirty word. Geez, next time I want to say intestines, I should stop and call it internal 6 meters long waist canals, because its name is too rude to be ashamed when they're wrong. People should be thrilled to learn they're wrong because it's an opportunity to learn. Instead we shame politicians who flip-flop on issues, even if they switch their opinions from something like man-woman marriage to a stance of gay rights support. People straight up deny they're wrong even when you pile a mountain of evidence in front of their dumb faces. They have to keep eating even when they're full. This isn't about picky eaters or whatever. This is about schools forcing kids to eat all of their lunch despite not physically being able to. It's not a healthy mindset. This can cause overeating and then being overweight and can lead to eating disorders. My mother enforced this when we were kids. She would pile our plates ridiculously high for kids, then demand we eat it. And we'd have to sit at the table until it was done, or we'd have it cold for breakfast the next day. I became overweight and my sister suffered from anorexia and bulimia from this. We still have problems with eating correctly and weight. If you're bad, I'll have the doctor give you a shot. If you don't stop misbehaving, the cops will come arrest you. For me it was the woo-woo will come get you. I think that was meant to be our version of the boogeyman. I called Elmo Nana because that's how he sang the intro to his song. So there's no telling that they shouldn't ask questions and that adults are always right. I remember growing up and being taught that an adult's words were the truth. And life was so much easier when I discovered that a grown-up was just as capable of being full of shit as a child was. Be respectful, but don't blindly accept what's handed to you. Edit. Cleaned up a mistake. Man, the shittiest part of this is growing up and realizing that your parents, the people you looked up to all your life, are morons as well. Ironically, I have parents who have usually been very good role models and caretakers, so to realize it much later in life hurts much more. I don't think that they're morons, but I've only recently realized they don't always know what's best for me even if they want the best for me. That the teacher will handle any bullies. My school had a no tolerance policy. I was small and timid and got it bad. I relied on the teacher's support for a long time, until finally one day, when for a reason I still don't know to do this day, a kid 2 years older than me jumped on me and put me in a headlock, saying he hated the way I looked at him, monsieur. I was relieved when a teacher walked out of the office and broke it up, but then shocked when he let him go and cornered me and asked me, "What are you doing to provoke them into treating you this way?" Never told another teacher ever again and just put up with it. Man, fuck that victim-blaming bullshit. You should never hate anyone in your family. Quote, if a certain family member did you wrong, never repented, never apologized, never tried to make things right, would gladly fuck you over again and has done so on multiple occasions, you should be free to detest him as much as you like. But no, because we are blood related, that somehow completely erases what he's done. 100% agree. Just because they are family, doesn't mean they aren't bad people and worth your time. Don't take no for answer. Actually, this can have severe consequences down the road. I'm trying to teach my 4-year-old son that he sometimes won't get what he wants, and that he has to accept that. How do the parents who teach their kids not to take no for an answer ever get their kids to go to bed? By not taking no for an answer. Unhealthy relationships with food. Noticing how our relationship with food is covertly communicated to our children. Labeling food as purely good or bad. Forcing children to eat something they don't want to. Sending the message that vegetables are gross and are only to be enjoyed through bribery. That children should always do what they're told. If they're uncomfortable, or scared, or truly believe what they're being asked to do is wrong, they should be taught it's okay to stick up for themselves. My take on this: that children should always think about what they have been told, and whether they should do it. The key word here is thinking, and accepting reasoning instead of authority. I can understand why some people go the other way though. I believe it is an exceptionally good thing to attempt to reason logically with children. Eventually you do hit a point where they're bound and determined to stick to an idea regardless of logic or reason, and they're not really in a position where you can talk them out of it though. If you put the kids to bed at a set time, and one of them gets out of bed every 3 minutes with some imagined ailment or excuse to stay up a little bit more, reasoning with them is just giving them exactly what they want and reinforcing that behavior. Regardless of how logical your argument is that there's a lot to do tomorrow, and they woke up early today, and they need their sleep to grow up big and strong, you can't just trust them to take all these facts in stride and then logically conclude they should go to bed. They might decide that knowing all the facts they'd rather stay up and eat sugary cereal and watch TV until 3 a.m. Monsieur. We trust adults to make that decision and deal with the consequences. But half the point of parents existing is to prevent kids from making certain kinds of dumb mistakes on their own behalf. So, moderation in the approach whatever you do. There's a time to listen and a time to think for yourself. Making little kids kiss for a cute picture. Along the same lines, telling preschoolers that so and so is their boyfriend, girlfriend. Can't they just enjoy the single life at least till they can spell their own name? I've had a few people project adult relationships onto my kid when she was 2 and her little 2-year-old boy acquaintances, and I lost my shit. I can't even articulate the damage that projecting socially romantic roles onto little girls does to the monsieur, and I have to watch as it happens to my niece. Just ignore them and they will sometimes that's the answer, sometimes it's disaster. The real answer is don't give the bully what they want. So what to do depends on what the bully is trying to get out of you. If the bully is trying to get a reaction, or make you visibly feel hurt so that they can feel like they have emotional power over you, then ignoring them can deny them that and could work. If they're trying to feel powerful by creating a situation where they're dominant and you're submissive, or where they get to toy with you with impunity, then being passive instead of fighting back would worsen it. In general, don't reward behavior you want less of. So that means understanding what the bully considers a reward. It works in the adult world. because it's actually possible to avoid someone who you have issues with. This option often isn't actually available to children. And if you try to ignore them, they'll just keep ratcheting up the intensity of their behavior until they find your breaking point. That ugly equals bad. I partially blame TV animation for this one though. Old, ugly, fat or serious-looking people are almost always the villains. This often makes kids fear elderly people and make unfair connections between appearance and personality. And it's not just kids animation. I see this shit everywhere. The Lord of the Rings films scale almost perfectly the attractiveness of each character to the inherent goodness and importance of every character. We should stop comparing him to other children, which is basically telling them they're not good enough when they compare you to other kids. But when you compare yourself to other kids, they say, "But I don't care about them." I care about you. Why'd you bring him up then? Holy shit, this hit close to home. Finish your plate encourages kids to eat past the point of full. On here, family eat in all-you-can-eat style. So the rice and side dishes are on the middle of the table and you take it as you needed. On this case, finish your plate is still good cause it teach the kids to only take food as needed, and not stuffing everything into their plates. What to think instead of how to edit. Thanks for the gold internet person. Are you telling me the droning mass of people all spouting the same boring messages is the last? Isn't the symbol of a successful society? Well, fuck that, they're at school to study, not make friends. Friendships are important at any stage of life and you will definitely benefit from having connections in adulthood.